Welcome to Voices of Reynolds, celebrating the college's 50th anniversary. I'm Mary Ann McGee, and community colleges boast so many features and terrific value adds, but the ability to transfer to a four-year school is one of the top reasons that students choose us. And Chenelle Williams is an alum, an up-and-coming data scientist, and a young woman who makes a plan and chooses carefully. And so we are delighted to have her here. Chenelle, your resume is already really impressive. Really impressive.
Thank you.
And it actually includes a pretty exciting internship you had over the summer. Tell us a little about it.
Oh, for sure. So this summer I interned at Amazon as a business analyst intern, and it's in the data science space. And it was really exciting, waking up and living in DC for a couple of months and going into the office. That was so great. And a couple of times I even got to travel to Seattle with my team. And it was just so exciting to be able to interact with other young professionals and people in my field and really envision what I would look like in 10 years and what I want to do. So fulfilling, truly.
This is such an exciting time to talk to you, Chenelle, because you're in this wonderful verge stage. You're on the verge of graduating and on the verge of starting this new career. And before we get into your future, take us back to your decision to come to Reynolds. What landed you here? How did we get so lucky to have you as a student?
As someone who's interested in data, I can say that data has just always been how I've done my life, So I moved to Richmond and I thought, okay, I want to go to UVA or maybe Virginia Tech, and I know I want to do computer science. So how can I figure that out? And I did lots of research. So I was like, okay, let me find a community college just near to me, and also it has really good values, it has good transfer agreements, and that I will feel comfortable at. And I called, I visited, and I went to the downtown campus first, and the staff was so friendly and they really laid it out for me. They're like, you can do this, you can take these classes, and you can get into whatever college you please. And I thought, okay, this is what I want to do. And that same day I started my application and I got everything ready. And truly it's been such a good experience, and I'm glad that I went with Reynolds. I think not just academically I've been able to progress, but also socially and with my leadership qualities and whatnot. The school has been able to nurture me in multiple different ways.
And I want to talk a little bit about that because you were a student ambassador while you were here at Reynolds. And then you're also, if I'm understanding this, you are an engineering transfer student peer advisor at UVA. So you seem to have this special empathy about what it feels like to be new and what kind of questions new students have and what they need to hear. Where does that come from?
I think throughout my entire life, so a bit of a backstory. In Jamaica, I grew up on the countryside, and I always wanted to go to this really, really popular school. All the smart kids went to this school, and I would always tell my dad every day, I want to go to this school. Even at 7 years old, which is hilarious, really. I'm like, I'm going to get into this school. And I went there and I was like, oh, I don't identify with anyone here at all. Like, I'm glad that I'm here and I'm glad that I have access to these resources. But I felt so odd compared to my other classmates. And because of that experience, I've really tried to not only cultivate a space and a safe space, not for myself, but other people that identify with that. So whenever I go to a new space, I think, okay, how can I feel comfortable here? And once I figure out how I can feel comfortable, I'm like, okay, how can I make everyone else feel comfortable too? So that's something I've really been carrying with me. And when it comes to transferring specifically, I did so much research, and when I think back upon how much time I invested in that, I don't think it makes sense for everyone else to have to invest that time too. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. So I ensure that I put all the resources that I gathered, all the things that I learned, and I bring that to other students so they can also have a good experience.
Chenelle, what I loved, I read the piece where you are featured in the Washington Post, folks, okay? And you say, you're kind of known, okay, that's Chenelle. She is the young black woman in the engineering department. So if that is your brand, if that is how you are known, I'm assuming there are not very many black women in the engineering department.
Oh, no, not at all.
So how have you been able to navigate and not just hang in there, but really thrive, achieve, and succeed there. What's been the secret?
I don't even know if there's a secret, really. There's always imposter syndrome, really. And sometimes I'm in a class, I'm like, there's no one else like me. There might be one other person, so no, I have to befriend them because we have to form a group. But I think, and I spoke to my mom about this because it was the last day of my internship and I was waiting to see if I could come back and work full time at Amazon. And my mom, she told me, you got this, that you're confident, you have the skills. And I thought, I know I have it, but in this moment, I have to put on extra confidence. So even if I don't feel confident in the moment, I have to find it somewhere, even if I don't feel it 100% yet. Because feeling confident and portraying that, like you will eventually get there. And also for me, it's just good to know that even if I'm the only one in this room right now, if other people see me, they will also feel comfortable in the room. I have a mentee that I mentored her last summer, and she transferred from a community college in Richmond. I don't think it was Reynolds. And I was speaking to her the other day because we still keep in contact. And she said to me, Chenelle, seeing you put yourself out there constantly without fear of rejection, that's what motivates me to continue doing that. And when I heard that, I thought, this is exactly what I need to keep doing. Because if I can inspire just one person, and I know it sounds corny and everyone says that, but it's so fulfilling to know that you have impacted people and you've helped them to achieve what they wish to, because they're no longer afraid of the boundaries and of being the only one in the room and of the looks, because the looks are just looks at the end of the day.
I cannot think of more wisdom from someone who is still so young.
Oh, thank you.
And you have achieved so much, and a lot of that is just pure Chenelle. But tell us a little bit about how you think Reynolds has prepared you for where you are now.
Absolutely. I think the big one would be the fact that I got to engage in so many different leadership opportunities and no one said no. Like they're like, I'm thinking, oh, can I help with the transition from when COVID hit and we're doing orientation and we had to suddenly switch from in-person to online. I was like, I can help with that. Like, I can figure it out. I can do recordings and whatnot. And no one said no. They said, okay, let's see what we can figure out. And I think that's so important. I even got to be a part of the student advisory committee for Chev. And someone just said, hey, Chenelle, I think you'd be good for that. And I said, okay, yeah, I'll try it out. People kept presenting me with opportunities. And I think some students, they think, okay, we're at community college, I'm just here to do my classes, but it's more than that, because you can learn so much about how to be a leader and just your purpose here. That way, when you do go in your career or when you transfer to another college, you already have that strong sense of self, which is really important. Because if you go into a new space and you're not quite sure who you are, there's going to be months of confusion and you trying to figure that out. But if you go in and you already know what you're about and what you would like to do, you're already one step up and you will just continue to advance and progress.
I hope there's so many students who are taking notes on this. If they don't take notes on any other thing, take notes on that, because that's brilliant advice. Well, help me understand, what is data science? You're a computer science major, and this is a subset of computer science.
Right.
What's data science, and what drew you to that?
So data science is, as the name suggests, it's all about data. So it's about getting that data first. You're cleaning that data. You're putting it, what we call a pipeline. So for example, let's say every day you use this app, right? So we're getting data from that app and we're putting it into our own database. And once we have that, we can do analysis on it. So we can do statistical analysis to look at trends in the data. We can do different charts and visualizations to present that data to partners so that they can make decisions on that. When I was at Amazon, I worked in student programs. So lots of the data that I dealt with was student programs data, interview data. So it's really just about taking the data that we get, either we get it ourselves or we get it from a third party, and making decisions using that data.
Well, I tell you, Chenelle, your chops for research have paid off in so many ways. We are so glad that your research led you to Reynolds Community College, led you to UVA, led you to Amazon and beyond. We are delighted at all that you have accomplished, and we know you have so many more exciting things ahead of you. So thank you for making this pit stop on your way back to Charlottesville. Best of luck to you. And thank you, everybody, for joining us on this edition of Voices of Reynolds. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.